In places like Arizona, there is this.
We are coming for you. We will find you.
In Wisconsin.
We're going to hang you.
From Georgia.
Do you hear the anger in my voice? We're ready to pounce.
And Minnesota.
Is probably going to be executed for treason.
These are just a few of thousands of threats being sent to the people who run this nation's elections. Most of them sent after the January 6th assault on the Capitol. Threats to Democrats and Republicans alike, sent to any Secretary of State or election official who certified that Joe Biden was the fairly elected president. Officials in swing states receiving a flood of threats.
Page after page after page of threats. I know where you sleep. I see you sleeping. Be afraid. Be very afraid. You just hope that someone doesn't get hurt.
That's right. This is definitely not what I expected as Secretary of State.
Jenna Griswold is a Democrat and the Secretary of State of Colorado. At 37, she's one of the nation's youngest election administrators and one of the bravest.
When did you get the first death threat?
It really kicked up this year, after January 6th, after the insurrection. The lies around 2020 are intensifying, and it's leading to real threats and violence.
Do you have to take these seriously?
Absolutely. If someone threatens your life, they post your address on the internet and tell you they're coming for you, I think any reasonable person would take it serious.
This is a way to shut you up.
They're trying to.
And trying to drive you from office.
I think that's exactly what's happening. And we're seeing a lot of these threats focused on Democratic women secretaries of state. But we won't be intimidated, and we won't stop.
It's being taken seriously enough that 4 months ago, the Department of Justice set up a task force. But so far, no arrests and no prosecutions.
It's been incredibly frustrating. The Department of Homeland Security will alert us about threats of physical violence. And then the DOJ and FBI will tell us they're not actually tracking the threats, and we should track them. We don't have systems to track.
Have any arrests been made by the state police here?
No.
Not a one?
No.
Who is monitoring these threats here in Colorado?
Well, before July, I believe no one was. Beginning early July, State Patrol started to monitor, but there are so many threats, they can't fully see them all. So we ended up assigning a staff person who has no formal training, and frankly, I've been monitoring. When threats are coming in a big rate, I stay up into the evening and look at them, screenshot them over, and they're sent to State Patrol.
Historically, most election officials have toiled in relative anonymity, doing the administrative tasks needed for citizens to vote. Not anymore. The Brennan Center, a leading nonpartisan academic center, conducted a recent study showing 30% of the election officials surveyed were concerned for their safety. And just as alarming, according to Griswold,
40% of election workers in large jurisdictions are considering retirement because of the amount of vitriol.
As a matter of course, do most secretaries of state have a security detail?
Most do not. But we're in new times. So I do think that secretaries of state who have been receiving constant threats should have security at this point.
It took some courage to sit down here in front of a national audience and put this all out there, because you know that this is going to attract more threats.
Well, we need to talk about these issues. The threats to me, they are personal threats, but it's more than just me. It's attacks against democracy.
Now, a Justice Department spokesman tells us the issue has the Attorney General's full attention and that the threats are taken with tremendous seriousness, noting there are extensive and ongoing investigations around the country.
Cynthia, you sat down with a Democrat, Secretary of State there in Colorado, but you've mentioned that these attacks have been against Republicans and Democrats. How concerned are GOP officials in states with Republican secretaries of state?
Very. And there have been tremendous attacks against both the Arizona and the Georgia secretaries of state. Also, this is interesting. Before that Justice Department task force was set up, the only federal prosecution in this area nearly a year ago, well, it was a Republican election official who was the victim because that official refused to certify Biden as the winner.
Meantime, yeah, can we just go on to one other note? That was a fascinating story. But you also had a fascinating story last week. You were talking about some Afghan family members who were trying to get out of Afghanistan. There were family members left behind. You actually have a good update on this one?
Yes, I'm so rarely here with good news. So, you know, it feels really nice. I want to be the Harry Smith who comes No, I'm the grump. Well, anyway, you're going to remember the translator, the African translator we introduced you to last week. He'd worked for 11 years for the U.S. military. He and his family have been living in New Haven, Connecticut for the last 5 years. But his wife and children, of course, got stuck in Afghanistan this summer when they went back to visit. Targeted by the Taliban. I mean, these people's lives were at risk on a daily basis. Guess what?
What?
After we broadcast our story, I am happy to say the family, the 3 kids and the wife, have been flown to safety in a neutral third. So, yeah, they'll be home in the U.S. within 2 weeks.
You do a great Harry Smith impression. It's awesome. Perfect. I like the good news.
We're thinking of a podcast, you know,
exactly.
for old people. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.